evening, everyone. I'm Rob with MMORPG.com. Tonight I have with me Nick, the lead designer on Novus Aeterno. Tatali Games, correct? Close?
Yeah, Tally Studio.
Tatali Studio. So, thanks for joining us tonight, Nick. We skipped a bunch of splash screens and login and stuff, so you don't have to see all that fancy push the red button. But we are in the first scenes of the game, and Nick's gonna run us through it. We're gonna skip out of the tutorial, and he's basically gonna be our guide, and we can have a look at this MMORTS.
Cool. So the first thing is you'll start out probably looking at the surface of your planet. And the initial thing you're going to want to do is the second or third button down on the right is build sector. Go ahead and click on that, and you're going to want to build a warehouse, a factory, a shipyard, and a spaceport. And go ahead and click on those, and then just click on the surface of the planet on where you want to build the buildings.
It's worth mentioning, I actually was kind of moving around, and it looks like there's already a building existing on the planet. Should I be concerned about that?
No, that is your planetary headquarters. It is a brand new account you just made, but you still do start with a planetary headquarters, which allows you to actually control the planet you're starting on.
Okay. My warehouse just came crashing down. Is it a warehouse, a factory, a shipyard, and a spaceport?
That's correct.
All right. Now, it looks like there's a buffer zone between how close we can have each one of these units placed on the map. Is there any real reason other than cosmetic that exists like that? Do I have to worry about how sprawled out they are?
At the moment, no, but the reason why I've set up like that is so when we implement in full ground combat in the future, we don't need to force players to reset up their the way their planets are laid out.
Okay.
So when we add in stuff like orbital bombardments, drop in actually managing your military forces on the surfaces of planets, that's when your placement of your buildings becomes a lot more important. Right now, though, it's pretty much just the preparations and the future support for having that feature in.
All right. And I just did something. I'm in outer space now. I don't know exactly how I did that, but so
anyway, did you get the core buildings built?
Yes, I did. I got those 4 buildings laid out.
Okay, great. So now that we have them up, let us go ahead. So now the basic camera movements in space are WASD to move the camera around, and hold down middle mouse wheel and move the mouse to change around the perspective of the camera.
Okay.
And mouse wheel to zoom in and out. Now, first then, let's start from the big picture inwards. Now, this is a massive, seamless, persistent strategy game. So first thing, let's go and show is just how big the map actually is. Go ahead and click spacebar. This will take you to the tactical overview of the game. Now, if you zoom out a bit with your mouse wheel, you'll notice you have a nice little solar system going around here and the orbits of all the planets and that stuff.
And if there's other solar systems.
There is. And all of this you're seeing is just one seamless, persistent RTS map. And also, if you notice, if you start going in any direction, solar systems will just keep spawning and spawning and spawning. And it literally is massive. I mean, I would say endless because there is an end. But each galaxy, and a galaxy is one single RTS map, each galaxy is about... I don't even know how to compare it to a typical RTS map. But just so you get an idea, it'll take you more than a month for a unit to go from one end of the map to the other, moving at sublight speeds. And this isn't about loading screens. You're not moving between instances. There's just one massive map, and it'll take you that long for a spaceship to chug from one end of the universe to the other, one end of a galaxy to another. So
your poor servers. I can only imagine the load they're under.
Yeah. Oddly, not oddly enough, actually, that was one of the original things. We put a lot of work in to make sure the servers would actually be able to handle this level of load. I mean, World of Warcraft, they can only fit so many players on a server, and each player is just one character. Now imagine this, where each player is fleets of thousands of ships and hundreds of ships. But due to our latest server tests, I think we actually made some really major breakthroughs in our server tests just last week, where we were having very limited just testing battles of about 15,000 units all fighting with each other, and it increased server load by like 0.01% or something. So at the moment, our initial tests for server load are looking very, very positive. And I definitely feel very comfortable of reaching our initial goal of being able to fit 30,000 players per server, and we may even be able to fit more than that. Now, just a quick question. When you zoom out and look at your solar system a little bit, it'll tell you a solar system and then a number and then a coordinate, like -1, -3, something like that. What is that information? And that way I can figure out where you are in the galaxy in comparison to myself.
I actually managed to get back onto my planetary map view to make sure that my planet was under construction and that my units were there. So how do I get back to that map?
Spacebar. Just click spacebar.
Okay.
And I'll take you right back out into space.
I am Jovian 2, capacity 10%, and need my coordinates.
If you zoom out a little bit more, when you see the whole solar system, then that data will change to your solar system information.
Okay. Solar system 39. -1.
So I actually spawned in the
-3.
same solar system as you.
Okay.
Jovian 2. I see you. You're just a little bit north of the sun?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm actually just a little bit south of the sun, Rocky 10. So let us get back onto the planet and start designing some ships.
Okay.
So go ahead and open up the Empire Management tab, or the Sector Management if you're on your planet itself. If you're in space, the Empire Management button works just fine. Second button down on the right. And this will allow you to control production and stuff like that on your planets without actually needing to be on the surface of your planet. So if you're in the middle of combat, stuff like that, you can easily manage that. And then go ahead into your shipyard. And once you're in there, you can open the ship designer. And we can get building some units.
All right.
Now, okay. So important thing to note here is that all of the units within Novus Aeterno, the player customizes and builds himself based on whatever role he wants them to fit. How the process of designing a ship starts is you pick the hull class that you want. Now, a hull, pretty much all that means is how much health it has, what armor values it has, front, rear, side armor, and also how many components it can fit in the different slots. So for right now, it really doesn't matter which one you pick. Go ahead and pick from any of the list of different hull types you can pick. The further you scroll down, the bigger the hull gets. And then after you've selected a hull type, then you're going to want to work your way from left to right across the top tabs, slowly putting weapons, engines, shields, and stuff like that into the design. So starting with weapons, just go ahead and click and drag whatever you want to stick into the design. And as you can see on the left, when you select a weapon, there is a whole lot of stats that you can read up on the weapons, figure out exactly what kind of thing you want for whatever use of the ship. But right now, we can ignore that. That's more just for EVE Online players. Now, and one important thing to note, do not forget to put engines on your ship. If you don't put engines on your ship, they won't move.
I've got engines on there.
Okay, and also under utilities, you're going to want to throw on an FTL drive assembly, definitely. That'll help you get around space a lot faster. And once you've done that, go ahead and click Save Design at the bottom, and then just enter a design name. And click OK. Now, once that is done...
It's done.
Okay, so now click the back button at the very top right of the list of interfaces on the right side, and that'll take you back to the shipyard. And now while you're under the shipyard here, go ahead, there is a drop-down menu at the top of the interface. Open up that menu and click on the new ship design that you made, and then just spam the build button in the bottom right, and it'll start production of those ships.
Okay, so did you already load me out with resources or something? Because I'd imagine that's kind of part of the...
Yeah, as it is, first of all, as it is the development server, you start with a hell of a lot of resources, so we could get fleets built up quickly and be tested in combat. And also, as you are a new empire, you do start with a stockpile of resources to get going. Now, this is actually where it gets a bit interesting. If you see on the left of the interface, you'll see warehouse, factory, stuff like that. Click
Yes.
on Factory, and it will open up the factories in the game. Now, an important thing with the way that the whole production cycle and infrastructure works within Novus Aeterno is that every engine, every shield, every weapon needs to be produced independently. And then once it's completed, it's stored in your warehouse. And then once you have all the components that you require to actually build the ship, then all those components are taken from your warehouse, sent to your shipyard, and production has begun. So what this adds in a lot of bonuses to planning ahead in the game. If you already know what types of weapons, engines, shields you like to use, you can already build them ahead and have them stockpiled up, which will drastically reduce construction time of units. Also, it opens up the ability for you to trade with other players because you may not have the population on your planets to support all the factories you would really need. So instead of that, you could be buying these components that you like to use from another player and just stockpiling them in your warehouse, so you don't need to build them every time you want to build a new ship. So now, like, just supporting that, if you click on your warehouse and kind of scroll down to the bottom there, you'll start to see a lot of the like different engines and shields and stuff like that were being constructed. And another thing you'll notice in the warehouse is you have uncommon, common, and rare resource stacks. All resources do take up space in your warehouses, just like the components. And to move these things between planets, you have to actually load them onto ships that have cargo bays and fly them over to the other planet. And that we really want to motivate and support the whole concept of that everything in the game world must always exist at a physical location in the game world, so that just to promote the more immersive element of the game plan, also for stuff like pirating, be able to raid these trade routes, being able to have components get damaged on ships, and just to add that whole next level to strategy games that really haven't been there in past RTS games.
Oh, it's great. I totally understand.
So now you should probably have your first ship at least completed. Now, when they're finished in the shipyard, they will get sent to the spaceport. So go ahead and click on the spaceport on the left side of the interface there. Now, the spaceport is where you can dock your ships to repair them and resupply them. It's also where your ships will go before they launch into space itself, where they'll get crewed and supplied for the first time. Now, once your ships are ready, you can go ahead and drag select over all of them and click launch in the bottom right. And also, just for ease of use right now, there is a little button next to the launch button that says auto launch, which you can click that and that will automatically launch the ships into space as soon as they're done being produced.
Where was the auto launch? I'm sorry.
It was right next to the launch button, the very bottom right of the screen.
Okay, gotcha.
So
I got
also
6
notice
ships
in here
in
at
space.
Yep.
I think you're defenseless.
Show some ship space. Okay. So basic unit control works fairly similar to what you'd expect in RTS. Right click to move somewhere, right click and drag for the fleet to move to a location and face a specific direction. Also, when you select your ships, you can set a formation that you want them to move into. And entering and exiting the tactical view mode, just pressing spacebar, and you will enter into RTS mode wherever your mouse is. Like, it'll zoom in right on there. So you just put your mouse over your planet, click spacebar, and it'll zoom right in on your planet. And yeah, that's pretty much the basis of that. I am going to actually FTL over to you.
It's like a space station by the sun. We just flew by.
Okay. You should notice some ships right outside of your home planet.
Yeah, I see like 10 of them sitting there.
Yep, that's me. Now, notice also how I have these gray icons above my ships. It means that like we're neutral to each other right now. We just encounter each other in space, and if you unselect your units and then left click on one of